Okay. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Delicious Snacks for Tea Time here at Winter in the Woodlands. Thank you so much to Rosé Foray and J Fashion on Demand and Bay Area K and Pretty Princess Club for hosting. This has been fantastic so far. Don't forget to enter the charity fundraiser contest for a chance for some fabulous prizes donated by the participating brands. Why am I not trying to actually look at the, there we go. No, I, trying to actually watch at the same time on my tablet, but that doesn't seem to actually be cooperating. Yep. Okay. Yeah. All right. Fine. That works. We'll just do it this way. So anyway, my name is Elia. My pronouns are they, them. I've been wearing J fashion for over a decade. I've been interested in it for almost 2 decades. I currently wear mostly classic and gothic Lolita with occasional forays into OG, sweet, visual K, and of course casual because everything's casual right now. I have a small accessories brand called Dimensions by Elia Chan, which is mostly on unofficial hiatus right now, though I do still have my Etsy shop open. Go ahead. So I am based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I've been to some of the conventions been to NandesCon in Colorado a few times. Anime Wasabi, if anybody remembers that. Woo, that's a while ago, and a whole story in itself. I've met other J fashion enthusiasts at conventions here and in nearby states. One of the first meetups our small scattered community had was at a marvelous local treasure here in Albuquerque called the St. James Tea Room. And I've been in love with the format of afternoon tea ever since. Of course, because of COVID and everything going on, I haven't been able to go out to tea. So I've been having fun putting together my own tea service for myself for these wonderful online tea parties we've been having. And if you've followed me on, if you've been following me on Instagram, I've been posting my tea setup for most of those as we go. So in this panel today, we're going to go over ideas for putting together a variety of breads, sweets, and savories for the 3 tiers of your tea tray. We will talk about how to make fancy snacks out of things. Yes, best meats ever happened at St. James. Caddy cakes is correct. We will talk about how to make fancy snacks out of things you can find at the grocery store. So trying to, maximum cuteness for minimum effort. We're going to actually go through making a couple of simple savories. We will make a spinach and feta filled pastry and a traditional tea sandwich. And we'll talk about plating and presentation to show off your treats. And of course, then we'll talk about what to do with your leftovers. And I'll try to respond to questions as best as I can as we go, and we'll also have a time for questions at the end. Yay, baking tomorrow's scones. Excellent. I have on my Twitch and on my YouTube channel, I have a couple of videos up of preparing scones, preparing clotted cream in an Instant Pot, and preparing scones at the last event at Royal Vegas Online, Kombucha had a panel on, you know, what to do with your how to become how to broadcast on YouTube, and the joke was, well, okay, so do instant pot cooking in Lolita, and I'm like, well, okay. So I kind of took that and ran with it just a tiny bit. So yeah, let's get started here. So we got 3 tiers of deliciousness. We have savories. Hopefully we can, let's see if we can read this. I did not put the text in my notes, so I'm going to read this off the screen here. So savories, it's anything that basically anything that isn't sweets, anything that has the kind of the umami flavor. Um, so you have tea sandwiches, of course, are a favorite. So many varieties of tea sandwiches that you can make. We're going to make a very basic cucumber sandwich today. For the last one, I did ones that one of the recipes that Pretty Princess Club had posted on their suggestions page, which was making roses out of prosciutto and sticking them on top of a sandwich, and those were very tasty. You can so you want to have some kind of veggie. What I usually do is a small bowl of like chopped salad. So the easiest thing is just a package of like chopped salad kit. I found this one I think I found this one at Smith's, or you may have that as a Kroger's. It comes with all the things you need to make a fancy salad. So it's got stuff already chopped into small bits, and it's easy just to combine and then put into like a fancy little dish, like one of these guys that then fits on your table very nicely. Can also have pastries with a savory filling, a meat, like a meat pie or veggies, or a cheese filling. You can also do like any other finger foods. So you'll get like samosas or canapes, bruschetta. I think in my example here, I've got a chicken curry on a mini croissant, a chicken curry salad sandwich on a mini croissant. I've got a star-shaped cucumber tea sandwich. I've got a bruschetta with tomato and caprese and mozzarella for kind of a caprese thing going on. Got hiding in the back the little tiny samosa, and I've got some just canapes, which are I guess canapes. I don't know. They're cheese with prosciutto and apple wrapped around them, and they look fancy because I used a frilly toothpick. So that's our savories. That's our savories tier. That's kind of the main course, if you will, of the meal that is your tea time. Make sure I'm not missing any questions. Okay, and then the breads, of course, scones. Scones are the kind of the classic thing. You have, and there's again lots of different varieties that you can enjoy. But this is also a good. So I've got like for my tea time tomorrow, I'm going to have a classic cream scone. But I also, since I roasted up a pumpkin, I made a savory pumpkin and Parmesan scone that will be also quite delicious. I know because I've baked some of them up already. And then, so if you just search for like, I've made in the past, I've made Earl Grey flavored scones, just anything, kind of anything that you can think of, you can probably figure out how to put in a scone. It's great. Also, another thing is like a tea bread or a tea cake. I've made lavender lavender tea cake recipe that I really like. There are Mac. Um, and then you want to have the things that you put on your breads. You can have clotted cream or some other creamy spread like a butter or a, like a whipped cream cheese, that kind of thing. And then you usually want like some kind of a fruity spread. So like classic is lemon curd. I've also had cranberry curd or just a cranberry sauce. And that's again, that's one of the things that I'm going to have on my tea tray tomorrow is a really fantastic cranberry sauce that I made last night. There we go. And then sweets. So macarons, of course, are the yes, they are so good. It's very subtle flavors, and so it really is a nice complement to whatever tea you're drinking. Speaking of tea, mm, there we go. That's better. All right. So sweets, macarons are obviously the kind of the iconic go-to. Um, I really enjoyed the panel last night about making the meringue mushrooms and the chocolate bark. That was fantastic and delicious. And I don't have time to try it this weekend, but I'm definitely watching that one later and trying to follow along. I've in the past, one of the things that I've gotten in the past is, oh yeah, is Trader Joe's does these packages of a dozen sweet bites in like several different flavors. And so what you see on the sweets, there you go. Yeah. So what you see on the slide is I've got one of each of those on my tray along with a few different flavors of macarons. Um, and I've also made brownies and like cut them into fancy shapes, and that sort of thing. The other thing is the other neat thing you can get is sometimes you can find like a tiramisu uh, in a little glass cup thing. Where'd it go? There we go. And so not only do you have a lovely dessert for one tea time, you then have a lovely glass to put your next lovely make a tiny trifle or something, and put something delicious in that on your plate. Save that for next time. All right, what else did I have on that slide? Let's see. And of course, fancy cookies. If tis the season for making lots of fancy decorated cookies of all sorts. And so, whatever, a lot of this is very much whatever you like. If there's something that you want to have, like here in New Mexico, our official state cookie is a bizcochito, and it's a Christmas. It's generally associated with Christmas time. So I'll probably have one of those on my sweets tray tomorrow. All right. Next. Yes, ton of little glasses. Costco tiramisus are the best. So good and so useful. And then you have glassware to use to present fancy tea things in later. Okay, go from basic to fancy. So frozen fancy appetizers. A lot of times they'll have baking instructions that are about the same as your scones or pastries. So you can just plonk a whole bunch of different things on your parchment lined baking sheet and bake them all at the same time. They all come out great together. This, like I showed the salad kit, if the flavor you want isn't already chopped, or if you're like working from um, if you're working from like a box of spring mix, or I had some really nice lettuce from my parents' garden for the last one. If it's not already chopped, kitchen shears are your best friend. Very useful. Just obviously make sure they're nice and clean. Cookie cutters aren't just for cookies. They are most excellent for shaping sandwiches or scones or pastries or cakes or anything really. Let me get those out. There we go. So I have this set of star-shaped, there we go. Star-shaped Wilton, I think these were originally like supposed to be, probably supposed to be like fondant cutters. But there's 6 different sizes in this package. And so they're good for anything from making a whole scone to cutting out like a little star-shaped design in the top of a pastry or something. This was such a good investment. And I'm going to keep those handy because we're going to use some of that starry goodness for some of the other things we're making. But yeah, I picked those up for the Sea of Serenity, and it's stars. You can't go wrong with stars. They also, yes, okay, cool. Daiso has a bunch of cute cookie cutters as well. Excellent. And so having a good shaped cookie cutter is really neat. It's a very easy way to add some theme to your tea snacks. We already discussed the Costco tiramisu that come in the little glasses. Savory used the glasses. You can find some mini croissants are really great for like the egg or chicken salad style sandwiches. I found a like bag of them already baked, or you can just get the like crescent rolls, the Pillsbury crescent rolls, and make those. They work really great for that. And then whatever herbs you're going to put in your butter for your tea sandwich, dill works really great and looks very fancy. I'm probably going to do this with rosemary tomorrow. But use that for a garnish for whatever for your tea sandwiches. And then the best thing that you can do is get everything ready in advance, and then just before the party, if you have a toaster oven, you can just pop it in the toaster oven for a toast cycle, and that gets it nice and warmed up for all the things that are warm upable. And or just a regular oven at like 315 for 5 or 10 for 5 minutes or so while you're getting ready. I like the toaster oven best because I can set it and then walk away and keep doing my other getting ready stuff, and it will just ding, and then it will stop toasting, and so I don't have to worry about getting it out of the oven right away. So let me show you some of the boxes of snacks that I have found. All right. And then I'm going to just put these back in the freezer. But so yeah, Trader Joe's is a wealth of fancy snacks. This is spicy pumpkin samosas, and all of these take about the same amount of time, at about the same temperature in the oven. So we got pastry bites with feta cheese and caramelized onions. These guys I found at Costco. I've got another more pastry things. It's an olive tapenade, so that's a very savory flavor. And then kind of balance that out with a little bit of sweetness with your savory with the brie and berry jam. So these ones I found in Target freezer. These ones I found in Trader Joe's freezer. Lots of good freezer section options. Most I've noticed that a lot of the places I go to have like a shelf in the freezer section that is for the fancy appetizers. And they're, pick one or two that you like. The neat thing about these is you can just take one or two out of the container and heat them up, and then the rest are still frozen and ready for next time. I'm going to put these back in the freezer. So that they're ready for tomorrow and not getting thawed when I don't want them to. There we go. Also, speaking of things you get at Costco, Costco has the mini quiches that are superb for this. All right, next. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and get started with our with making our first item, which is our spinach and feta pastry. And we're gonna do this one first so that it can be baking while we make our tea sandwiches. So our ingredients, and so many of these are very much what you like, what works for you. So I found at, again, good old Trader Joe's has this fantastic puff pastry. Make sure you can see that. Oh, that screen. There we go. Fantastic puff pastry that comes frozen. There's 2 sheets. I've got one of them already defrosted. And the other one I'm going to put back in the freezer because I'm going to use that for the next thing. But you can also use pre-made pizza dough. You can use the I think Pillsbury does of course they've got their crescent rolls, but they also do just a sheet of the crescent roll dough available in one of those terrifying pop cans. I hate those things. I love them, but I hate them. So there's lots of options, or you can like make your own. If you need to be gluten-free, you can make a gluten-free pizza dough recipe that you've found that works well for you. So you can adjust all of these things, all of these ingredients to what you like and what works for you. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven according to the instructions on my package. So for these, it's preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Go ahead and turn that guy on. There we go. And then we'll bake it, again, we'll bake it according to the package directions. Set that aside there. All right, and then we have frozen chopped spinach, good old crunchy bag. We have got a thing of feta cheese crumbles, and we're going to throw in some spices just because that just makes life so much better. So I'm going to grab that. And yeah, I'm going to just use some of that herbs. Okay, cool. Fine, be that way. That was my iPad that was deciding not to show the stream, that just decided to fall off the stand that I had on. Okay. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to have one egg that we're going to use to make an egg wash. There we go. Okay. So preheat the oven according to the directions on your package of pastry, whatever kind of pastry you got. We're going to get a bowl to mix our filling in. And I'm going to use about half of each of these packages. Well, hello there. There's a cat who is trying to creep onto the scene. Again, trusty kitchen scissors. All right, so we got our spinach. We have, should have opened this before. Let me get a spatula here. All right, we have our feta cheese. Again, I'm going to put about half of that in there and save the other half for later. Because you can make more pastries, or you can make quiche, or you can make egg bites, or all kinds of things with the remnants of that. All right, and add some spices. This is Penzeys Spices Justice Mix, which is it's onion and garlic, and it's just a really good kind of a bright, savory flavor to it. And I'm just gonna add a bunch of that, because that's gonna mix in nicely. So you can also do, also it's always a good idea to do some salt and pepper, just for grins, because that just adds a little bit to everything. There we go. I am also going to throw in some, I've got some oregano from my parents' garden. I can't keep anything growing, but my dad's really good at it, so I just enjoy that. And then I'm gonna also, you can also throw in other shredded cheeses. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the last packet of mozzarella that I've been working on. Oh, butterfly and pounded chicken. Ooh, oh my. Oh, that's a good thing to do with leftover spinach and feta. Yes, good. All right. Now we're just gonna kind of mix that up a bit. There we go. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna roll out our pastry. Not even roll, we're just gonna like lay out our pastry. Okay, so it comes in this nice, comes in this really nice sheet. Got a little, was not laying perfectly flat while it was defrosting, so it got a little separated there, but that's easy enough to squish back together. Just gonna kind of stretch that out a bit. Yeah. All right. And now I'm gonna cut this into, some squares. I'm gonna make some little bitty pastry bites. We'll see what we can do with that. Those may get, actually what I think I might do with these is just make some little stars that'll be really neat for like putting on top of a salad as a cute little pastry accent. All right. A spoon. And okay, now I'm going to have handy a baking sheet with a piece of baking parchment on it, or you can use a silicone baking mat or just grease the pan. Parchment works so well. I love that it's readily available and is a thing. And so what we're going to do is just kind of spread that out on my hand. Going to spoon a bit of our filling into it. And then just kind of turn this over on itself and seal it up. Let me see if I can do this without blowing out the lighting. There we go. Wow. There we go. Okay. So we have a little triangle. And what I did like for Royal Vegas is I just kind of, oops, kind of crimp those together really well. Make sure your fillings are well tucked in. And so I kind of just turned that into a little bitty crown sort of shape. There we go. Ta-da! Ah, and the beeping means that my oven is preheated. So we're just going to make these up and put them on the sheet here. There we go. And you just get you get better at this as you go. So like by the time I'm done putting these all together, they'll all look, the last ones will look fabulous, and that's probably what I'll actually put on my plate that I show off tomorrow. But there we go. Right. And you can experiment with different, kind of folding them into different shapes or whatever. One thing that I do want to kind of show off as a possibility is you can put these in like a here we go. You can also put these in a muffin tin. So this is just like a regular sized cupcake or muffin tin. Again, if you're doing that, you will want to grease the muffin tin. Or what I really love is I have this Nordic Ware skull cakelet pan that was absolutely one of the best investments I've made. It was I found it on Amazon, and it makes just you've seen this, you've seen the skull shaped breads and things in my pictures, and that's what this yields, and it's great. Not going to do those today because this isn't really a skull themed sort of thing. On the other hand, if you're Gothic, then everything can be skull themed. My mic pack has decided to rebel. Get on there. Okay. Maybe that will stay. We'll find out. Such a fan of the skull pan, yes. All right. But I've been wanting to get another different shape pan like that, just to have some variety. Because I do love the skulls, but I wanted to be able to do some other things too. So I've got things in my wish list that I'm kind of keeping an eye on. All right. So yeah, fill, pinch shut. I wonder. Let's see if this will. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of pressing this into shape inside the star cookie cutter. And I think that one's a little too big. Go for the next shape, next size down. There we go. Yeah, that's the right size. So once I've got my, once I've got my pastry bite like filled and sealed, I'm just pressing it into shape inside the cookie cutter. And then I'm going to put that on the baking tray, and we'll see how that turns out. Not terribly fancy, but then just kind of pull it into position. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be a fun little star-shaped pastry. We'll see how that turns out. Try another one of those. Maybe with not quite so much filling. And you can gather the points differently. There's lots of different ways you can do this. This is not the Great British Bake Off. They do not all have to be identical. Yeah, so we're gonna just kind of shape that one by hand. Thank you. This is a Lady Sloth elegant mesh that I got in gray to go with lots of things, including this dress. The JSK is from Dolby, but I have I have several other things that have a gray component, much not least of which is the Violet Fane Cult from the Sea original blue colorway, which is fantastic, but ridiculously difficult to match colors to coordinate. So that's why I got that's why I invested in some good gray blouses. All right. And I think Lady Sloth is about to put these pre-orders for this style blouse back up on their site because they just finished and shipped a batch of them. If I remember, if I read that particular update correctly. Here we go. Yeah, just making that into a tiny little, just make that a little square. Yeah, why not? These are going to expand a little bit, but not terribly much. There we go. Thank you, Carol. My day job is I work an office computer job, and of course I've been working from home since March. But when I was actually in the office, I would wear Lolita to work at least on Wednesdays, which is kind of like my Monday. And several of my coworkers want to come and raid and live in my closet. They think it's Narnia. I just have a lot of fun curating my wardrobe, as I'm sure everyone in this event can relate. Here we go. All right. I'm going to do another triangle shaped one on this one. Get in there. No escaping fillings. All right, so I'll do that one kind of as a crescent shape. Why not? A moon to go with my stars, as it were. Or our planets, our Christmas star, our Saturn and Jupiter that are coming together for a once in about every 20 or 40 years, I think is when I think it's about every 20 years those two come together in the night sky around Christmas-ish time, which is why they kind of get referred to as that. But it's actually planets. It's not a star. Really looking forward to that. Somebody, cats that are meowing at each other. What? All right, that one's kind of a little lump. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my smallest star cookie cutter and kind of put a little star shape on there. There's a reference there that I'm not getting, but is that a DBZ? I don't know. If I put more stars on it, it would be a Dragon Ball, right? Here we go. Okay. I think we might be able to manage that, actually. It would give me an excuse to get out of the house. Do a little contactless delivery to you there. Miss Carol Bell is also here in the same area, and she is doing, her panel is next. She's going to do a panel on patterns for Lolita fashion. She is fantastic at that, and I learned so much from watching her streams. It's great. So I'm really looking forward to that one. So there we go. Yeah, let's do another star. Why not? Hold on. All right, getting to the end of our ones that we actually had full squares for here. So I am gonna, let's try one more. Let's try one more little star shape. Squish that together really good there. And then, okay, that one does need the bigger one. And then squish that into the cookie cutter to shape it. Ah, that worked. Bloop. Okay. And then, yeah, I think I am just going to go ahead and just cut these guys out into some tiny shapes. Because these will be nice accents that we can put on top of other things. Or just snack on. Because this stuff bakes up really nicely. There we go. And I'm just going to kind of plunk these on the sheet here. There we go. Some little bitty stars. Okay, and I'm just gonna save that. And I will make something more with that later. There we go. All right, now we're gonna do our egg wash. So I got an egg. I have a wash, egg, wash. No, wait, this is not PPAP. All right, gonna grab a small small whisk here. Crack my egg into my bowl. Whisk that up. So this is how we're going to get our really nice kind of golden glaze look on the top of our pastries, which will just look very delicious. Okay, and you can do this either with your just kind of carefully with your whisk, or I got a, where to go? There we are. I got a silicone, I got a set of silicone bakeware and included a silicone pastry brush, which is like a large paintbrush, but made of silicone and is useful for putting washes on pastries and things, as the name would imply. So we're just going to do this. Ta-da! And we're just going to brush this on the tops of all of our little pastries here. And if you're vegan, if you use the vegan egg substitute stuff, probably works just as well for this. The trick is you want to have something, some kind of protein on there, basically, that gives it that nice golden brown when it bakes up. Okay, brush, brush, brush. Stay. Ah. There we go. And any sort of nut milk with a little salt for vegan baking. Thank you, Pastel Pastry Chef. Good to know. Get these little bitty stars too while we're at it. Okay. There we go. This tray of deliciousness is now ready to go in the oven. And the package directions for the Trader Joe's puff pastry says to bake for 10 to 12 minutes or until pastry is puffed and golden brown. And since we've got this nice filling in it, we're going to bake it. We're just going to start with the 12 minutes on that because it's got some thawing to do with the spinach there. So that goes, and gonna set my kitchen timer. And there's that. So we've got some egg wash left. What I usually like to do is got some silicone. There we go. Got some silicone baking cups. I'm just gonna make a couple of. Just gonna put some filling in these. So these you can then fill up pretty good. And this also then uses up some more of your filling. And then I'm just going to pour the rest of this where you can see, maybe. How about that? Pour the rest of this in here. And then I will actually going to go ahead and put these in the fridge for now, and then I will actually bake these up later. But they bake about the same. They take about the same time. The other thing I really like to do with this leftover spinach and feta mixture is make egg bites in the Instant Pot. Again, the Instant Pot Lolita cooking show. I should do that. I will probably do a stream sometime next week with that, and actually show you how I do those. Okay. So I'm going to, for now, put some things away so that we can make our tea sandwiches. Do. Just going to put these kind of in the fridge. An Instant Pot is magic, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Here we go. All right. Those guys are out of the way. And now, please do. Yes, I will. I definitely will. Okay, so what's my next? There we go. All right. So our next slide is our tea sandwiches. You could, thank you. So ingredients, again, this is all very much what you like, what you enjoy. I'm going to use this pumpernickel that I really like. The other one I really like for this is Smith's or Kroger's does what they call an English toasted bread or English toasting bread. There we go. Hi. Which is it's a white bread, but it's kind of a denser, heartier white bread that holds up very well to this. All right, and then some kind of fat, basically. In this case, we're going to be using.
Elia, your snack cam disappeared.
My snack cam disappeared. What? Oh, come back here. What do you? Did it actually run out of? I think it ran out of battery. What the heck?
Oh no.
My phone is now decided to brick itself. Okay, great. All right, fine then. I will show things to the main camera. I don't know what happened there because it was fully charged when we started this. All right. So yeah, so we have butter. You can also use margarine. You can also use like cream cheese. The prosciutto rose sandwiches actually use like the recipe called for us goat cheese mixed with cream cheese, and I just did mixed with honey, and I just did cream cheese with honey because I did not have goat cheese at the time, and it worked very nicely. So whatever good fat you want to put on your thing work, and again we're going to use about half of this, so I'm going to just cut that in half. There we go. And then herbs, whatever herbs you like. Yes. Cheese and honey is just that it's that classic that milk and honey sort of combination that is just ancient and delicious. So herbs, I'm going to be using some rosemary and some mint. I've also in the past I've used chives and dill and basil. I'm probably going to go ahead and get some of the oregano again, just because it's tasty and I'm trying to use it up. So again, it's whatever your taste is, whatever you like. And then I have a cucumber, and the best kind is this they're called an English cucumber, and they come wrapped in plastic, which is not great for sustainability, but it protects the slightly thinner skin of the cucumber, so you don't necessarily have to actually peel this before you use it. You can if you want. I'm mainly going to be probably cutting it into star shapes, so I'm not going to worry terribly much about peeling it. All right, and then we need a bowl. I'm actually going to mix this up in the container that I'm going to eventually store it in, because that way I'm not adding extra steps to my life here. All right, and then a spatula, not the same one we were just using, a smaller one. And yeah, we got again with our trusty kitchen scissors, I'm gonna go grab some, go pick some herbs. off this poor plant that I've been trying to keep alive for a week and have kind of not really succeeded. Let's do that. And that. And all right, I have herbs. So here we go. I have some mint. I have some rather pathetic looking basil, but it'll still taste good. And I have some fresh rosemary. Okay, so I have cut the stick of butter in half. I'm gonna go ahead and put that. Oh, these herbs smell so good. Okay, put the butter in the bowl. And gonna add some herbs. Just gonna kind of snip these. Let's see here. Aha, there we go. I can't read my screen, but you can see what I'm doing. Just snipping these with our trusty kitchen shears. So there's my basil. There's my mint. Snip, snip, snip. Snip, snip, snip. And then here's some rosemary. Yay! Thank you. I really love the versatility of lady sloth blouses. That is probably what I have most of as far as blouses are concerned. When they have a cut that I like, I tend to get it in several different colors. There we go. So there's our fresh herbs. I'm gonna go ahead and put in. I'm gonna use some more of this, some more of the Penzeys Justice, just again because it gives me that nice garlicky, oniony sort of thing going on. My timer for our pastries just beeped, so let's see how those are doing. Okay, close. They are close, but not quite golden brown enough, so we're going to give those a couple more minutes. Give those like 3 more minutes and see how they're doing. Again, it's all very, see how you're doing as you go. See, that's dried rosemary. We put fresh rosemary in, so we don't need that. Again, we're going to put some of that oregano in there. Okay. And it's cold now, so this is stiffer than the last time I tried to mix this up. Oops. Oh well, it's still working. Just kind of smush that together. Give that a good smush. Just to kind of get those flavors all mashed together so we get a nice sampling of, get a nice variety of herbs in each bite. That'll be good. Fresh herbs. So I've seen lately, and I got a few, and have attempted to keep them alive. Cut herbs from my garden and mix in cream cheese next time you make a sandwich. Yes, good, excellent plan. Excellent plan. I've seen at grocery stores lately a lot of these live plant herbs. And that's what I've that's what I've got over here and have been trying to keep alive. I am not going to show you the basil. The basil looks terrible, and I don't know why it died on me. But this is rosemary. The rosemary is actually surviving. The mint is doing a little better than the basil, but they're supposed to be fairly easy to take care of. This is about as good as I can do as far as gardening is concerned. But it has been really nice to then have these available, and like the packages of fresh herbs that they sell are like, I've seen them are tend to be like around the $1.99 price point, and these were like twice that, but will, if I can keep them alive, keep growing and be useful for longer than just the about 2 weeks that the packages of herbs last. So we'll see. This is kind of an ongoing experiment. My timer is beeping again. So we're going to check on our pastries again. There we go. Stay. Oh, much better. Yes. All right, look at these guys. Ta-da! So there are our spinach and feta filled pastries, nice and golden brown. You can see what that egg wash did. Beautiful things. So there's our tiny little pastry stars. Again, those will be really nice as like accents on top of a salad. I'm going to put this down because it's warm, because it just came out of the oven. Surprise, surprise. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven off so I don't forget to do that. All right. So next, so the next thing is our cucumber. I'm going to go ahead and wash this. Just on general principle, always wash the things you get from the grocery store. There we go. All right. So yeah, the English cucumber has this nice thin skin, which is not terrible to if you happen to eat it. So I'm not gonna worry terribly much about peeling these. I was about to say skinning. That would have sounded terrible. All right, so we're just going to slice these. We're going to slice these nice and thin. It's easy enough to do with a knife. The other really neat thing, and I did not manage to remember to borrow it, was a mandolin slicer. Will make this super easy. Because you just put it on the thing and go to town. There we go. So you got these nice pretty cucumber slices. All right, that's good for now. And then I'm actually going to lay these on the paper towel kind of absorb some of the moisture away, so that they won't go gushy while they're on your sandwich. The neat thing about these is you can make them in advance, like a day or two in advance. Excuse me. And then to keep them nice and fresh, what I'll do is I will put them in a nice, good old, not Tupperware, it's a Rubbermaid dish with a damp paper towel, and that'll keep the bread nice and moist, so that I can just then plonk one of these onto my tea platter tomorrow. So there we go. That's all ready for me to put my completed sandwiches in. All right. Now we're going to take a piece or two of bread here. And so you can either assemble them now as is, or what I like to do is actually cut off the crusts first. And then we're going to flatten these. We're just going to kind of squish this bread down a little bit, so that it compresses nicely and plays well with the cookie cutters. My scraps of bread I'm actually going to keep, and I've got a small collection of scraps of bread already. I'll probably make like a bread pudding or something to go either for tomorrow or for later, for some other tea time. All right. So you've got some slices of bread there. Where'd it go? Yeah, heck. You can just squish these down with your hand, or I've got a small rolling pin-like object. And I'm just going to roll those a little flat. Yeah, there we go. And this is not like super fresh bread. I've had this in the fridge for probably a week or two, but it's still fine. And actually, you don't want super fresh bread, because it needs time to kind of sit with itself and think about its life choices. No, it needs time to really solidify, so that you're not. If I tried to make this with the bread that I baked the other night, it would just kind of fall apart. Be delicious, but it would not be presentable. All right. So the next step I have is I'm going to choose a cookie cutter that's about the size of my cucumber slices. And I'm going to just press some little shapes out of this. So I'll end up with some star cucumbers and some starry shapes of bread. And then we'll just kind of assemble all these. And these little scraps of cucumber, I can put in a chicken or egg salad as just a little bit of veggie crunch in that, like instead of a celery or something. I am very fond of curry salad sandwiches to go with tea, so I'll probably do that. There we go. All right. And we're getting to about 15 minutes left, so I'm only gonna make a few of these. Again, the cucumber you can keep nice for a few more days after it's sliced. Again, by putting in a container with a damp on a damp piece of um, damp piece of paper towel. All right. So now I'm going to spread some of this. Order of operations. Here we go. There we go. Little stars of bread here. Again, I will save my scraps and turn those into like a bread pudding. Again, the cat is attempting to get in front of the screen, and I have set up enough of a wall that he can't. Haha. Love you dearly, Widget, but you are not supposed to be in the kitchen while I am doing this. It's not time for your snacks yet. All right. All right, we got some bread stars. We got some cucumber stars. We got some butter with some delicious fresh herbs in it. Now, put it. It really does make a difference, the temperature of your butter. So it's yeah, with it being a little bit cooler today, this is not going terribly smoothly, but there we go. So once we put the little cucumber star on top of it, though, it looks fine. Ta-da! Right? Does not look terrible. You know what? Yeah. Your hands are clean. Just use your fingers. They're the best tools you have. There. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ta-da. Okay, so we got, what, about 10 minutes left? Let's do like one more of these, and then I'll do the presentation slide. Oh, wow, that's falling apart. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Okay, that'll be a snack later today, is what that will be. The other way you can do this that would also be probably, especially if your butter is not as soft as it was when I made this 2 months ago when it was considerably warmer, is to spread the butter on the bread first, then put the cucumber, and then cut it out with the cookie cutter. So yeah. All right. So next we have presentation. Yeah. Yay, slide. All right. So yeah, so the traditional kind of setup is three tiers on a tray I've got a really neat tiered plate holder that I found on Big River Online. You know what that means? That's Amazon. So I'll have I'll have a plate for my savories. I'll have a plate for my breads, and I'll have a plate for my sweets. If you want them to, if you want them to show up on a patterned plate, you can. If you don't have doilies already, you can cut a doily um, out of a parchment paper or paper towels. It's kind of like cutting out a snowflake. Um, use Again, you can use the like little glass bowls, little glass jars, that sort of thing for putting like your salad in. On this slide here, I've got basically what I turned into a chopped salad with then garnished with some apple slices, and so you can use garnishes of fresh herbs or other ingredients. Oops, wrong one. There we are. Yeah, and then once you have everything on your trays, I'm gonna go ahead and do one of these. What the heck? So, you know, put a little, like a bowl with your salad. Put your various kinds of sandwiches. They're tiny. Take two. They're small. We'll put one of your put some of your pastries on there, that kind of thing. And then once you've got them all, once you've got your trays all set up, you can kind of arrange them, arrange them prettily on the plate. Show everything off. Take photos. Take photos of each plate separately, so you can see what you got, and that way you also have kind of a record of what you did too, so that you can think about it for next time. There's a cat here who is sneaking under the laptop, and I'm not going to let it to the bread. And then put them on your tray, your plate holder, and show the whole thing off. And make sure you share what you did on. There's the snack chat channel on the Discord. There's the post it on Instagram with your event hashtag. As you can see in my slide here, I've got my skeletal friend Bonita. If I don't know if Neo Rococo means is in the chat, but they're familiar with Bonita, I'm sure. Bonita is famous, sort of. Bonita is meme famous. Yeah. So I think, yeah, and so show off what you did, so that we can all enjoy seeing that. And then leftovers, of course, the frozen appetizers can stay frozen. Just take out one or two for the day and put them on your, bake them up with your pastry and your scones. The herb butter will keep very nicely in the fridge for quite a while. You can obviously you want to get it to room temperature before you try and work with it. Maybe even a little warmer than room temperature, depending on what the room temperature actually is in your home. The spinach and feta filling for the pastries, as I said, can be used. Put it as a filling in quiche or in egg bites, or just put it in a container and throw it back in the freezer and defrost it the next time you're doing pastries for the next event. Cucumber, unfortunately, does not last terribly long, so you can use, like I said, you can use the scraps in a salad. You can make more tea sandwiches for the for the rest of the week, that sort of thing. And so much of this, as I said, can be made ahead. So you can, make things up ahead of time. I usually am like the week before, I'm doing one or two things, and then I'll just have stuff ready to throw in the oven, when it's on the day of the event, uh, just to kind of warm it up, and toast it up and make it ready to put on my tea tray and enjoy at the tea party. And so now, do we have any questions? What is my favorite tea time snack? Ooh, um, like I said, I'm very fond, like out of everything. Ooh, scones. I love scones. I love making lots of different kinds of scones. I actually like made sure, I found a way to make clotted cream in the Instant Pot, because that was a thing that I encountered at St. James that, I then did not ever see in a store. I'm like, there's got to be a way to do this, and there is, and it's actually quite easy. And I have a YouTube video about it now. So scones, but also, like I said, I'm very partial to the curry salad sandwich, kind of sandwich on the savories tier. And then on sweets, probably macaron, because they're fancy and pretty and also delicious, which is the best combination. Uh, my favorite kind of tea. Oh, okay, so in general, black tea. Um, but more specifically, I've got a couple of different ones. That I like. One from Adagio Teas is called Bella Luna. It's an Earl Grey blend that it's kind of a creamy Earl Grey, with a little bit of coconut flavor to it, and it's only available to order on the day of the full moon. And I'm almost out of it. So the next full moon at the end of the month, I will be ordering more of that. Adagio also does this one called Puer Hazelberry, which I've just thrown the label on the top of another tea that I ran out of, which is, I really like Puers because they have a good amount of caffeine. I tend to make a pot of tea in the morning that gets me through the morning. And the nice thing about Puers is that, if I get distracted and don't pull my tea strainer out of the pot at quite the right time, it doesn't ruin it. It can stand a little bit of oversteeping, which is lovely. And then from a local tea shop, New Mexico Tea Company does this black jasmine cream that is absolutely delectable. Um, that again is one of my go-tos. What's the most ambitious pastry you've tried to make? Oof. Um, I I tend to not get too ambitious. I use a lot of pre-made things. I think the most ambitious I got was getting into the skull shaped things, and that was investing in the pan. But of course, it's pandemic baking, so I have been actually trying to get into more of baking breads and things, and so I actually made some lovely Italian bread the other day. that turned out pretty good. It probably wouldn't pass muster with Paul Hollywood, but whatever. It's very tasty. I enjoy it, and that's what matters. Aside from curry sandwiches, what is the most interesting thing you've had in a sandwich? Ooh, fruit sandwiches. I've seen those fancy fruit sandwiches. That would be an ambitious thing. I have like a tab open in the browser on my phone to try those sometime. But let's see. Most interesting. I would really like to try one of those. Actually, let's see. The St. James Tea Room current menu, I actually ordered curbside takeout to do tea time at home last week, and their traditional tea sandwich was their current menu is all themed around the holidays and the Nutcracker. So the traditional tea sandwich was a cranberry cream cheese with a little slice of turkey and a piece of and a little slice of orange, and then the cucumber, and then a cranberry on top. Those were exquisite, and I think I might try and recreate that at some point here. So as far as in a sandwich, that's probably the most interesting. Tea Lyra, I'm probably not saying that right, and I have not heard of that. But if there's a link, if there's a link, I'd like to. I'm always up for trying new teas. So if you've got something that you really love and would like to recommend, I'm always willing to give something new a shot. I love tea. Speaking of which, all right, I think we're actually getting I think we're done on time and going into the overflow. So go to my last slide here. Thank you so much for coming. There will be a link for the panel feedback survey in the chat. Please fill that out if you like. Also, don't forget to enter the fundraiser contest if you haven't already. Our next panel is going to be Lolita Fashion Patterns and Sewing with Carol Bell. I'm very much looking forward to that. She's an awesome person and does really wonderful things with sewing. And so that should be a good one. And then, of course, later tonight, we've got the fashion walk. We've got more panels. And hopefully see you at the tea party tomorrow. Enjoy. Have fun creating while you watch more panels. Thank you so much.